Whether your world has a day and night cycle, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to a new video in the SolarSonas Redraw series. My name is Morgan, you can call me Momo, and in this episode of the series I will be redrawing my 2019/2021 piece of Triton Standing. This is the actual first part of the series that started it all. I drew the original Triton image in 2019 when I worked on the SolarSonas. The SolarSonas are a series of which I draw characters based on the solar system entities like Mars, Pluto, and Triton, one of Neptune's moons. The original piece is 7 years old now, which is really old. And in 2021, I decided to redraw them for the first time, but I never got further than like 4 or 5. So one of my 2026 goals is to finish the redraw series and finish adding these characters to my original story called Irebun Tree Force, which I've been working on for like my entire life. As mentioned in the previous episode, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you haven't, check it out. It was really fun. I am redrawing a piece of 2021, which is a redraw of a piece of 2019. You can see them on screen right now. On the left, the 2019 piece, on the right, the 2021 piece. And working on my character design, I have decided to change a few things about Triton, as you can see in these two images. I have decided to start working on them bit by bit and adding stuff, retracting stuff, you know, the way you redraw characters, the way you make new characters designs by making them more interesting without making them lose the entire part of their personality. And as many of you know, or not know, Triton is one of my Siren characters, so I drew him with legs. Let me explain. Triton is a siren with the ability to walk on land. He is one of the very few who can actually breathe and walk on like land. He has legs, but he also has a tail, and in my next video next week I will be redrawing the piece with the tail, and I'm really excited for that one as I tried some new stuff with it and it's starting to look really good. Talking about like redrawing stuff is really important for me as I can usually not see my improvement. So working on a redraw will always give me the ability to see if I improved, if I got better, or if I stayed stagnant, and then maybe what I can work on in the future. I don't know, I want to talk about Triton as a character, but I also want to talk about the art piece itself. So let me start about Triton as a character, and then I will go into the art piece. Last week's episode I talked about the fact, as I said today, that he's a siren and that he has the ability to walk on land, but there are a few more little details about him I would like to reveal before I reveal them in my comic. Triton is in his early 20s and he's a little shy. He likes to like stay in the background and not be like the center of attention. That's why I drew him a bit hunched over, a bit hiding into himself, but he is also a little bit of a, you know, he is a spy basically, as he is able to communicate with Chris, my main character, without his queen knowing, and he has to work and make a way to not get caught. So his shy demeanor will help him in being a little bit more in the background and being able to hide from the authorities. So in a sense, it is both just a personality quirk, but also a little bit of an act he has to put up to make sure he doesn't get caught and loses his ability to go on land and meet his friend. Another thing about Triton is that he's one of the only sirens who will always wear clothes. As in, yes, every siren who can go on land will wear pants. Like, no, they're not naked, but he has, as you can see, he wears a shirt. And in next week's video, you can see that he also wears this shirt when he's in a siren form. And I have decided about that as I want him to be like unique, but also because I think it's funny that he has got a shirt. And lore-wise, that shirt he got from Chris, so he actually really puts a lot of memories to it. It's really important to him, and through the years it has ripped because wearing clothes on the water will make the fabric really soft and all that kind of stuff, but he will keep wearing it even though it's like broken. And he also wears that when he is in a siren form, so when he has his wings, when he has his tail. Something else that is different between the siren form and human form is some of his parts will not light up. He has a few like freckles on his face, which will have a little bit of a lighting effect both in this form and in the Siren form. But once he's underwater, it will light up very big, and he will be seen throughout the big part. You know, he will be like, it's like a beacon for everyone. Everyone has those. This is not really like a new thing for the Sirens, but it is kind of like a beacon for everyone to recognize each other, even in dark, murky waters. Well, once he's out of the water, as I mentioned before, the lighting effect will not be as like prevalent as it is underwater, as there is no water droplets or H2O molecules, to use the scientific term, to break the light from his freckles. So they will still light up, but be a lot less obvious. That's one of the ways I wanted to make sure there's a difference between his Siren form and his human form. Also, his hair is less floofy as there is no water trying to, you know, blow it around. In this piece, his hair is like really flat, and that's on purpose, as he just came out of the water, was my intention. So it will be a little more floofy once it dries, of course, but it will not be as floofy as the Siren piece, as you'll see next week. I talked a lot about Triton as a character inside my series, but what came about of this design? How did I think of this? Why did I think of that? Triton is a moon of Neptune, which in Greek mythology, Roman mythology, basically all mythology, Neptune is the god of the water, of the sea. He's Triton. So I wanted to base a character around the idea of a sea creature, a sea character, using the color palette of the moon itself. The moon itself has like this purplish, grayish, bluish sheen in the images I found online, which is always a color render, which is never exactly what it looks like, because we can't really go there as ourselves. And we can only rely on, of course, our telemetry and the probes that went that way. But as someone who's really interested in like the solar system and the science about it and like the physics, I am really like enamored by the planets in our solar system, especially the ones in the back like Neptune, Pluto, even though Pluto is sadly no longer a planet, and also the moons like Triton. I think it's important to like showcase that. That's why I made Triton a very important character in my series, as I want to showcase my like love for the solar system through these characters. And of course, these may not be the most interesting characters yet, as I'm still learning and working on character design and story-based things. And maybe the next time you see Triton, he will look different. I don't know, that's how my art style works. So I want to tell you a lot more about like my story and Triton and Chris and all the other characters, but I also don't want to spoil anything, as that would be like stupid, because I want you to watch, read, play my story and not, you know, be like, oh, but I already know this, so I'm not gonna do anything with it. So for this video, I think this is the end of like the explanation of the lore of the characters, and I will now go into like the drawing part of this. Well, in the background, you've seen me working on this piece, and just like last week's video, I worked in Procreate, as that is my most preferred software to work in. I have noticed, because I have had drawn in like a few months, that my knowledge of the program got a little bit skewed, as some of the things I just couldn't find or couldn't figure out how to do that again. So you can see me struggle a little bit in this video. But the way I've been drawing has been consistently the same over the past couple of years, like the way I paint and the way I make my sketches. So the sketching part I usually do off camera, as I like to do that just at night before I go to bed, or just on the couch when I'm watching a movie, or, you know, hanging out. So I will always post like speed paint of that, because Procreate records speed paints, but I will not be able to, like, you know, post the sketching process right now. In the future I might be able to, once I decide like, oh, I'm gonna work on this sketch on my desk with the cameras on and stuff. But setting up is usually not something I think about when I'm working on a piece, just from the sketching perspective. Same goes for line art, like it's just something I do in my free time. The coloring is usually based on the previous image I have used. So for Triton, it's like based on the pictures of Triton's moon, of the moon itself, and I usually keep a limited color palette as I try to make these characters like cohesive. And then like the rendering starts, and I usually start on a grayscale image so I can see if my values are correct, if they're like distinct enough from each other but not too distinct, and also if the contrast is good enough. And then I will make shading based on that. So I will be making shading on the grayscale layer as you've seen in the beginning of this video. Once that is done, I will be coloring over this grayscale shading with a more warmer and darker shade of the original like background layer. For example, his face was like a light bluish, and I changed that to more dark, warm bluish. Same for his hair with purple, etc. The next step I do is adding a multiply layer with a purplish shading, which is more like cell shading based on like, there is still no real like lighting right now. This is all just contact shadows and just three-dimensional shading I like to do, because I don't really like starting my pieces with one shadow stuff. Like, this is a style choice and it might not be for everyone, but I like this more overall shading type where I just choose where to put the shadows, especially in the contact parts. But after that, I will choose a lighting source and I will start adding like little lighting effects, as you can see on this piece with the blue I did and the pink. And I usually then add a lot more like shading based on those lighting effects. So overall, I'm still working on a way to create a cohesive color palette, like cohesive pieces that like don't look the same, but you can see they're all mine. So I am still working on that, especially with the lighting. And as I said before, I try using different lighting sources and create like color effects, but I'm still working on that. I'm practicing a lot. And I want to create in the future like pieces that are actually like super cool lighting effect, like Rembrandt lighting, ring lighting, characters in backgrounds, even though right now I just draw characters with nothing behind them. But that's just what I'm working on and what I like to do right now. But I wish in the future to work on pieces that are a little bit more like interesting in the overall, not only the character design, but in the overall big part of the drawing. So lighting is something I need to work on, but that's the next biggest step in my process. And afterwards, I will be doing a rendering pause where I will add like little details, more defined pieces, lighting effects, as I do for the Triton pieces, like the things that light up in his face, etc. I will add freckles, hair details, like I'm looking for the freckle brush right now. Again, like sometimes I forget where stuff is and it's really, really annoying. Should be better with that anyway. Yeah, so that's like the final part of the drawing I do, and it usually takes me the longest as I am just like going back and forth, adding little details. For example, his pants, like his pants is fine right now. I just don't know, it's missing something. I'm looking at the background, like is it the color of the background? Is it the wrinkles? Oh no, let me just go back to his shirt. I don't know. You know, I'm just really, like, I have a hard time at this stage, like, when is my drawing done? I used to over-render a lot, so I'm just really trying not to do that, even though I think there are more parts that needs a little bit more oomph. But you know, it's a process, and everyone learns from this, and I learned from this too, and I think this one turned out so much better than last week's piece, so I have improved a lot, like, just doing it again. And it's also something you just have to work on. It's not something that will be perfectly the first time, especially also with my video process. This is like my first dual angle video with the lighting, as I bought a lamp and I have a second camera. You know, I'm working on everything, and I hope you guys just like to get along with me and come along for the ride to get better at everything I'm working on, like art, my camera setup, my videos, voiceover, as this is the first time I'm actually recording the voiceover in software. Like, this is the first time I could do that. I don't know what happened, but I can now. So, of course, I will get better every week. And so does any one of you who wants to follow along and work on their own stuff while they're watching me do something. And that's what opens like the question I have for you guys. Are you interested in any other content you would like to see? Are there things you would like to see from me, like tutorials, practice videos, more hands-on stuff, less speed paints, more character, I don't know, character-based stuff. I am really interested to see what you guys think, because of course, in the end of the day, it's my art, but it's also you guys are watching. And if you guys don't like my content, yeah, then yeah, I'm not doing it correctly. So yeah, if you have any suggestions on what you would like to see from me going forward, of course, speed paints will never leave, because that's my favorite part of making videos, because I can see the project from start to finish. But if there's anything else you would like to see, like, I don't know, gestures in Procreate, anatomy tutorials, drawing tutorials, coloring tutorials, more about the characters itself, I don't know. Any suggestions? I'm open. I am completely open, as I said before. Well, we're going to the end of the video. It's only like 2 minutes left, and I just really want to thank you guys for watching. I've been making videos for my entire life, as far as I can remember, but I've been trying again and again and again to get social media to be something that works for me. And like 2026 is gonna be my year. That's what I said. I'm gonna work on a lot of things, and 2026 is gonna be my year. So I really appreciate it if you like this video to give it like a thumbs up. And also, if you want to see more of this or see more of me, just subscribe to the channel. I'm posting shorts, I'm posting long form content. I work a lot, I work hard, and I think like with a community, we can work together to get better at art and to create the stuff we want. And I think that's a really important part of art, to create a community. And I think you guys will enjoy being around. So again, I really want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you subscribe if you like this. Let me know if you want to see anything else, as I said before, and I'm very grateful you guys chose my video over all the videos on the internet to watch. And I want to wish you all an amazing rest of your day, and I hope you all stay safe. Here's the finished piece. I think it's better than my last 2 pieces, so, you know. Goodbye!